Good evening, everybody. My name's Brimstone, and I've got Protalis here with me. Do I have the right side there? Here we go. Protalis here.
Yeah,
How's
I think
it going?
so. Yeah. We're obviously
Perfect.
a little bit directionally challenged on the opening of the broadcast.
I'm used to being on your side.
Right, I see.
Now I'm over here. But we'll be co-casting your event this evening. Of course, we've got CCS R6W, week number 6 here, the European side of things, of course. We've got a lot of great matchups lined up tonight. Of course, 4 as usual that we'll be showing you, and then 1 off stream. Those matchups will be going as follows. We've got North Sea Gaming versus PENTA Divina. Then we've got B Titans versus Hellside. After that, we've got Titanium Cloud Esports going up against Team Queen. Then we've got Samsung Morningstar's Athena versus the newly named, or renamed, renamed? I don't know, Endpoint. And then, of course, the off-stream match, which you will be able to catch later on YouTube. That'll be Sphinx versus Spies. Now, Protalis, have you gotten a chance to look up any of these teams or anything so far?
Well, I'm aware of some of the orgs that exist. Obviously, I'm quite new to Rainbow Six myself, so excited for these, just to be working on these community tournaments, really. I've been impressed with what I've seen so far in terms of the level of competitive play that teams can bring to the game. So I'm interested to see what our teams today are going to be able to offer. Yeah,
so I'll actually just give you a quick rundown. We've got 2 matches here that are going to be pretty close matches, at least scoreboard-wise, because we've got a very tight middle of the pack area with 4 teams actually 2-0-3, or I guess 2-3 since we can't tie in this league. And then we've got 2 matches that'll probably be a little more lopsided. The first one being the one we're coming up with now, North Sea Gaming versus PENTA Divina. This is the 2nd seed team versus the 9th place team right now. And what's interesting is they both, North Sea Gaming actually lost its first game last week, but that was against the top team in Team Queen. And then PENTA Divina won its first game last week against the worst team in the league, which would be Sphinx. And interestingly enough, they actually kind of gave up, I think it was 3 rounds, which was the most that Sphinx had won in a game. In fact, 3 times as much as they had won in any match so far.
So this will be a rough time of things then.
Yeah. So this will be an interesting one. I mean, hopefully for us, we'll be co-casting this event, learning together.
Sure.
Hopefully this one will probably be a bit quicker than the others. That would be my guess. Let's get into the rosters for these 2 teams right now, if that's all right with you.
Sure, so absolutely.
Perfect. So we've got, where is it here? We've got, sorry about that. We've got North Sea Gaming featuring Arya, Disaster, Khaleesi, Ashley, and Miss Marie. And they'll be going up against PENTA Divina Victoria, which will be Tina, Connie, Issa, Tiffy, and Ava, if I think I'm pronouncing that last one correctly, Ava. So, I mean, for PENTA Divina, you'd think it would really have to be a team effort here.
Sure.
If they're going to collect some rounds. I don't think they're going to get the win, but what's watching the games yourself, anything that you've just watched, you've casted, to an underdog team, what would you say is they're going to be their key to any success?
Well, I think something that you find particularly in a lot of FPS titles and in esports in general is you have this tilt factor. Once your opponents start building momentum against you, especially as the lower seed team, you sort of then begin to expect that they're going to take over the game at that point, right? You know, expect them to start gaining that big advantage and potentially just close the map out. So the key for me, especially if you're that lower rated team, if you get off to a poor start and they get those first 2-3 rounds together, you need to take the time out to remain calm and collected, talk to your team and discuss what's going on, and then maybe try and throw in some tactical variation. It's not really worth just keep trying the same things every round, right? Going with the same operator picks in the same defensive positions and getting smacked off the map. Variety is the spice of life. So sometimes it can be what teams need, especially as the underdogs, to try and claim victory in those important matches.
I agree. You know what we can do now? Let's get into the map bans. Let's get those going.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So just heading over into the veto situation for you all today. And we are going to be seeing just about where we are going to end up then. So we do obviously have the standard map pool available of Bank, Border, Clubhouse, Coastline, Consulate, Cafe, and Villa as our total maps that are available for people to select. And we're just going to have to see now which side has chosen what when it comes to these selections. So the first ban that's come in is Bank. That's been taken out initially by North Sea Gaming. Cafe, the next one to leave then from PENTA Divina Victoria. Border being our next exit from the match, and Villa close to follow as well from North Sea Gaming, or from PENTA Divina, sorry. And our final two bans are Consulate and Clubhouse, leaving us on Coastline, which should be a nice, interestingly colourful and vibrant map to kick things off with.
You know what? I'll be honest. Hosting between Europe and North America, I haven't seen as much Coastline as I'd like. I find it one of the more interesting maps, particularly because, well, it's the only map where you don't need a hard breacher. And you can just have a lot more variance in the team compositions of the operators. I find it a really interesting map in that sense. And like you're saying, vibrant colors at the end of the day, if you want to go simple, it's just a fun, easy on the eyes map to watch.
Yeah, exactly. The background and scenery, at least, just something to admire. Anyway, I'm interesting to see as well what level of preparation the teams have brought. As you were saying, we're expecting PENTA Divina to be that slight underdog, but you do have those situations, right, where when you are the underdog in those positions, your opponents tend to prepare for you a little bit less, is the point I'm trying to make, right? They might not necessarily put that effort in. They might not do the research. So that can be where you have the advantage. If they've come up and drilled those strats to bring it to Coastline, then maybe they can claim the victory in this first map.
Perfect. Well, it looks like we are already here, and we're going to get into our first match here. It is North Sea Gaming versus PENTA Divina. We'll have PENTA Divina starting on attack, North Sea Gaming starting on defense, of course.
Yeah, so the operator ban's coming out early on. Then, as you were saying, due to the fact that you don't need so many hard breaches on this map, obviously not going to be expecting to see so many of them taken out in this ban phase early on. We do traditionally see operators like a mirror virtually perma-banned on the defense, so going to be expecting to see that happen in that situation anyway. North Sea Gaming, though, the opening ban going to be that Jackal, so taking away some of that less lethal utility from their opponents. Interesting choice. I think that, he's a player that I've certainly seen in my limited time casting, an operator that gets picked quite a lot. He seems like quite a successful attacker, using that footstep tracking ability, and the Nomad being the second attacker taken out as well. So interesting first set of things.
One, yeah, interesting one there. Jackal, a bit more of a common one. You see that a lot, especially in a map like Coastline, when you can move through rooms and through walls so quickly. That Jackal, and shoot through walls even, that Jackal can be really effective. So people usually like to get rid of that.
Yeah, the Clash being taken out as well. We do know that she is an operator that can be incredibly powerful situationally on that defense, and then the Mirror being the final defensive operator taken out. So not too many surprises here, for me at least, in terms of these operator bans. It'd be interesting to see now, obviously, what the teams decide to pick into this one. And it's a concept that in Siege that just really, has my attention, basically, is this 6th phase pick. It's something that you don't see in any game virtually, where you can basically obfuscate your picks and potentially take something out. I think it adds a real tactical element to the draft, and I'll be excited to see if teams can utilize it.
Yeah, I mean, it plays off in a few different elements, because you see sometimes it can affect where they think the site's going to be, and that can, even saving yourself 15 seconds because the attacking side, it thinks that they're attacking a certain point when really it's somewhere else. Killing every little bit of time that you can definitely help on the defense, but it can also change how you think that they are going, even if that they know what the site's going to be, how they're going to approach it can completely change, whether on the defensive side or on the offensive side, based on how they use those picks, what operator they take out, what operator they put in.
Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about what has been chosen. We do have the Sledge and the Ash, so quite mobile soft breaches available. And then a lot of firepower as well being brought in, actually. You've got the Blackbeard and you've got the Severe, and then just the Twitch as well to try and do that harassment with regards to taking down that defensive utility. So a firepower-heavy roster. No complete hard breaches, if I'm correct, on that attacking side. But as you were saying, they're not necessarily as needed on Coastline. But interesting that North Sea Gaming have basically realized the map that they're on, and they've adapted their draft to that in terms of not bringing those hard breaches in. And as a result, potentially, they're going to have those aim advantages at the moment in the opening gunfights.
Correct. And Zofia soft breach as well. She can bust open some walls. So I like what they've gone with here. They've got a lot of options, as you said, soft breach wise, and gun power as well. A lot of those, almost all those operators have very good guns. So my guess is they're going to be coming in fast and hard and try to catch PENTA Divina kind of, on their heels.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the opening phases of the game, obviously, they're just going to be looking for that information, right? That's what always happens. They get these drones out. You've got to find the defenders at the end of the day. You know, it just helps so much. All the damage you can do at this point in the round, right? If you can get any early frags, any early picks, it can give your team such the advantage. And especially on a operator like Legion, right? He's an operator on the defensive side that gets more powerful as the round goes on. So someone like him, someone like that Smoke, if they can find an early pick on them, it's a really successful start to the round.
Definitely. They're taking a little more time than I thought they would here, but I mean, they're coming from every angle, it looks like. This is an interesting setup here on offense.
Yeah, just clearing the initial areas of the ground floor at the moment by the looks of things. They have finally found that bomb, but you've got to imagine at this level of play, they'll have known exactly where it is all along. And right now, again, the defensive players just holding their angles right now. Don't want to get caught off guard unnecessarily. A little bit of spray transfers coming through, a little bit of damage trying to be found, but so far with a minute 30 seconds left on the clock, no active engagements yet to occur.
And a correction from earlier, I just a moment ago I did say Divina on defense, Penta Divina on defense, and North Sea Gaming on offense. It is North Sea Gaming on defense,
right.
Penta Divina on offense right now. And we've got our first kill here. Tiffy taking down Arya.
That could be potentially important, you know, going forward in the round. It is the Jaeger being taken out, so not one of the more important late round operators, but she is going to fall early on. And, well, Mozzie's getting caught in an awkward position there, gets the down, but is ultimately traded out by Issa, who hopefully should be in a position to revive her teammate here as well. And ultimately, that's just a really strong start to the round from Penta Divina.
Yeah, I mean, although maybe utility-wise, the Jaegers already got set up, already put out the ADSs, but that is a lot of gunpowder gone. So it's looking pretty good for Penta Divina right now. Hopefully they can capitalize on what they've gotten rid of here, especially getting rid of that Mozzie as well. Now the Mozzie can't use any drones it would have picked up to drone out the offense.
Sure. Well, just over 20 seconds left in the round now, and the Penta Divina side won the opening stages, but they're going to have to push at some point if they want to claim victory in the latter stages. Disaster creating a little bit of disaster for the Divina side in terms of finding one defensive pick. Just 10 seconds left on the clock now. This push has got to come through soon. The counter spam coming through from the Legion right now. Can't find the frag though, unfortunately. Leaves us in a 4v3 situation potentially. 3v1 now as trades go absolutely back and forth. It's on to Disaster. She has to defend, and she has just managed to do so. Uses that UMP, got the diffuser down from the attackers, and they just didn't have enough time at the end there to push those sites.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that setup, I was saying I was expecting a bit more of a push. They slowed down a little, which is all right, but they ran themselves out of time there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it looked like from my point of view. I think I can see the mindset they were going with, right? You can see the logic behind, okay, we don't want to rush in too early because we're going to lose the picks, but then they do find the opening pick going in their favor, right? They get the two big kills early on onto North Sea Gaming. So you're thinking, right, you're in a great post-round situation now. And I think the mentality there from Penta Divina might have been, they are 2 players down. They are going to be the team that are going to push onto us. They're going to try and force a play. Then we can get, you know, another kill basically, and then beat them in the late pressure situation. But North Sea Gaming doing an excellent job at holding their nerve, winning those late round fights, and, you know, commendations to Disaster. She absolutely came in clutch in that round, and without her, they don't win that match. That round, sorry.
And we had some interesting 6 picks here. On defense, they changed these. I believe it was a smoke going into the Valk there, and then they changed. Where was it? Someone went into a Finca, which is an interesting choice there. I'm wondering if maybe Penta Divina thinks if they find themselves in that tight gun battle later on like they just did, maybe that little bit extra boost of health will maybe push them over the top there.
Well, yeah, I think they're sort of realizing that because they're on coastline, they can afford to only take the one soft breacher, essentially, and maybe look for some extra offensive utility in the other regard. So the Finca pickup there suggests to me that they might go for a bit more of a contact-heavy play here, try and find those gunfights, basically, and like they were doing in the last round, basically getting those early picks and having things work out. But right now, if you're North Sea Gaming on the defense, you know exactly what you need to do in order to win at the moment. It's stay calm and hit your shots. It's just about whether they're going to be able to adapt to these continually changing defensive situations.
Interesting too. Let me get your opinion on this. They switched into the Valk from the Valkyrie from the smoke. Is that an interesting choice considering that they know that the attack is going with an IQ?
That could potentially be a situation as well. If you think towards the end of that last round, right, you think that Smoke and Legion are the two late round operators defensively, they're going to be significant. The Smoke got taken out really early on and wasn't actually that significant towards the end fights anyway. It was the castle finding things. Opening pick, though, once again going the way of PENTA Divina, as Connie this time going to be the woman to find things, and they continue to search for information now, but again, the early advantage once again. But yeah, I think to go into your point about taking the Valkyrie instead of the Smoke there, I think it's more about they've realized, okay, we can hold these angles down in late round situations. We're not under so much pressure when it comes to our aim, so let's just get the extra information that we can use defensively.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, even if the vault goes down, if she's put up her cameras, they can hopefully still be used if they haven't been taken out by the rest of the teammates.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another example of that late round utility, right, that can be used despite the fact that she's not available to do so.
Bit quicker of an offense here, but not by much. I'm still wanting to see a bit more of a push from them, but I mean, they do know that they're going up. Ooh, that was close.
That was immediate reactions there needed from the Jaeger of Ashley, and unfortunately she can't make the flick in time, and that's going to allow Connie her second entry frag into this round right now. And I would be saying in the traditional situation, this is the round all but one for PENTA Divina, but they were in virtually the exact same position in that last round, right? They had the two-player advantage, but couldn't find anything, and here we are things starting to fall apart once again. Kalisa this time getting the first trade and leaving us with a minute left on the clock. PENTA Divina are going to have to start to make some decisions about where they want to push soon.
Yeah, you said it well there. Almost the exact same position, but they still need to make sure that they follow through, because like last round, I mean, where you'd normally think it's your game to lose, that's exactly what happened. They didn't capitalize on those early 2 kills, and they ended up paying the price for it by moving just too slowly.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to try and find something towards the end of this round now, as the time pressure becoming a factor once again. The Legion in a great position here to find something. She can't do so, though. It's her teammate instead getting very aggressive towards the outside, finding a very important kill there on the diffuser, and that could be just the spanner in the works that destroys this round. Now Eve has to pick up the diffuser, has to force a play here with only 10 seconds left in the round. It's the perfect defending situation to be in. You just wait for the attackers to come into your crosshairs. There's basically no time. They can't even get a diffuse in here at this point. So once again, North Sea Gaming, despite losing those early advantages in terms of the losing the early picks, still winning the late round situations.
Yeah, that was just not a situation you want to find yourself in there, dropping the diffuser right outside of the zone with such little time to go, that even when they did end up picking it up, North Sea Gaming is just, they're ready for them. They're just waiting. There's only one play to make. It's to somehow pick it up and push in through that door that they're covering. They put themselves in a very bad position there, PENTA Divina did.
Yeah, absolutely. And a player of the round in that situation was certainly Connie. She got the very important opening double kill for her team. You know, she did basically all the work that you'd necessarily expect at the start of that round, but unfortunately, once again, it just doesn't go their way. They leave themselves in these situations where there's not enough time left to press the attack towards the end. They've spent so much time trying to clear the angles that they don't leave enough time for the actual push, and that's what's hurt them in the first 2 attacking rounds they've had.
Now, I do like this. I was waiting for a Capitao to come out. The only thing that I find interesting here is it's at the cost of the sledge. So the only soft breach that they have is Zofia, but that's not a lot to go in with. So now, given the site itself, it's maybe one that requires a bit less soft breaching, but still, it's an interesting decision. I would have maybe wanted to see the Blackbeard swapped out for the Capitao instead of the sledge. I still think sledge will come in a lot more use, even as far as, you know, breaking up the floor from the second floor, getting some sight lines in, getting some kills that way. But it'll be interesting to see how they utilize what little soft breach they do have here.
Yeah, I think the lack of the sledge might just be, you know, they picked the sledge into the last 2 rounds. They were doing exactly what you were just saying, cracking the holes in the floor and looking for the frags, but just not able to land them at the end of the day. Their situation that's rough for PENTA Divina at the moment is they can't get a hold of this late round situation. So I like what they're doing by varying things up. You know, they're not sticking with what isn't working. They're happy to keep trying new things, and they just need to find a good offensive composition here that's going to allow them to take control of those late round situations and give them an easier time pushing in the high pressure end round moments.
And you touched on it there. I mean, they've done at least the first half of each round correctly. So you want to find those little changes that are going to push you over the edge to find success, but you don't want to go changing it up completely, because you're doing something right. You're coming in, you're getting 2 early frags on 2 good operators. It's just you have to find what's going to work from that point. We've done the first part correctly.
Sure.
Now what can we do to push ourselves over that edge and, make the difference between a win and a loss of a round?
Yeah, they need to find a way to deal with these late round lurkers as well. This is something that's going quite well for North Sea Gaming at the moment, is they have these players in the lurk positions, not necessarily anchoring directly in these sites. And in the last round, the Jaeger on Amy, presumably. Sorry. Yeah, it was the Jaeger in the lurk position towards the end of that last round, just found the very important kill onto Connie, disrupted the offensive play and put the time pressure on. So once again, another thing PENTA Divina need to be looking for is an ability to deal with these lurk players.
Yeah. Now they're taking it a bit slower here. We only see the Legion with a bit of health gone here. Oh, they're pushing a bit harder.
Yeah, they are certainly trying to contest these gunfights early on. It was Arya on the Jaeger, my apologies. But yeah, sorry, nonetheless. Early gunfights being pressured. The Capitao going to be down but not eliminated. So hopefully that operator is going to be able to be picked up. But that's a very aggressive play there from Arya to try and get around. It is Miss Marie that does find the down inevitably, but Tiffy with a huge double kill there, trying to swing things back in her team's favor. Eve down as well. She's still waiting for that revive, which could come in from Tyne here. And now we're looking at, again, another late round 4v3 situation. It looks like PENTA Divina have the advantage, but are they going to be able to secure the win?
Yeah, Tina. I believe it was Tina circling around. Oh no, Tina was close, but she had another teammate circling around. They did get them up now, but they've just lost someone else. It is a 3-3 situation, which at this point I would say, based on health and numbers, is in the defensive favor here. Especially too having Castle up, Smoke up, and Maestro.
Yeah, well,
Castle maybe not so much of a strong gun there with the UMP.
Well, the push is going to be coming into this site very soon anyway, and once again, PENTA have left it late before they try and do anything. The leisure traps falling foul. The Capitao might even be down by this, and 6 seconds left. A diffuser dropped, and they just can't deal with these late round situations right now. Eve trapped in the back of the site, gets taken out eventually, and once again, it's these late round pushes that just aren't going well for the PENTA Divina side. They're getting the opening frags. It's 3 times in a row now. They found 2 opening picks early on, but have not been able to capitalize that into a site push.
Do you think that is this lack of decision making on PENTA Divina's part, or is this just good defense by North Sea Gaming and basically giving them no options to even make any decisions on?
Well, I think that North Sea Gaming are doing a great job with their anchoring players in the site, right? It's always the guys who are, the girls rather, even, who are left to deal with those situations in the late round, right? And that are anchoring within the sites to defend, that finding the success. I think that maybe it might just be a case of, from North Sea Gaming, that they have their defensive strategies locked down. They know, okay, we'll commit these 2 players to lurking, but even if they do fall early on, right, as long as they get 1 frag in return, obviously they're going to be looking for 1-for-1 trades in every situation, but as long as they can find the necessary operator picks, they know that they've got the individual aim and the calm, collected nature to deal with these late round situations. And it just looks to me like they're setting up in these bomb sites. Their defensive utility goes up. Those Legion traps as well being very significant towards the end of that last round, denying Ava from being able to get anything done towards the latter part of that round. So I think their defensive utility is very well placed in these sites. I feel like they're anchoring well. And in the operator draft for PENTA Divina now, I think they need to be looking at operators that can deal with that anchorage at this point and force the players out of the angles that they're in.
The one thing that I found interesting was that I was just looking up a few things before the game, of course, using Liquipedia, which is a phenomenal resource for any time you can't remember any piece of information or you want to look something up.
Yeah.
What I did find interesting is so far North Sea Gaming has played 2 other games on Coastline. Now, both of them did come as wins, so they are experienced in this map, and they're very good on it. PENTA Divina hadn't played it at all yet. Now, where that might be an advantage for them is they've got VODs that they can look up to get kind of a pre-game on North Sea Gaming, whereas North Sea Gaming wouldn't have that for PENTA Divina. And having said that, you'd think, or at least hope, that maybe PENTA Divina coming into this match hopefully did a bit of research and maybe got an idea, although it hasn't really shown so far because they seem to be a little bit lost in that second half of each round here.
Yeah, it does look like if PENTA Divina have brought that degree of preparation to the game, it's certainly not mattering at the moment because North Sea Gaming just having those really skilled site defenses, basically pulling things off. The individual skill seems there from PENTA Divina, right? They're landing the opening frags. They're finding, in certain occasions, these quite difficult shots to hit. Certainly ones that I wouldn't be able to hit in the game. But it's just about these late round time pressure situations. I think they're leaving it too long. They're a bit too cautious and anxious, maybe it is, that they're going to throw the advantage away. And, well, that's some very heads-up play there from Arya to secure the opening kill for the defenders. And maybe this is where what I was talking about with that tilt factor starts to come in now. You lose 3 rounds in a row despite having the 2 rounds, the 2-player advantage early on, and you've still lost 3 rounds in a row. Then once your opponent started getting the opening player advantage, then unfortunately, that might be when these PENTA Divina players start to tilt now that even the starts of these rounds aren't going their way.
Yeah, one thing I was kind of hoping to see as well is your PENTA Divina, we're in week 6, you're in 9th place at this point. I would have to assume, I mean, I haven't done the math myself, but you're all but, if not eliminated, from the chance of moving on to the playoffs, as it were. Why wouldn't you come into a game like this and just kind of give them hell, as it were? Come in, attack hard, and do everything that you can do to put pressure on them.
Yeah, it does look like that's what they've that's what they've been doing in the latter parts of this round, right? The trades have come back and forth and left us in a 3v3 situation towards the end. Once again, they need to start pushing basically immediately, though, at this point. If they leave it to 10 seconds on the clock and try and push a site, I'm fairly confident they're just not going to do it because it's like deja vu at this point. They need to get involved, but this is the situation now. They have the smoke up on the defense that can just pop those canisters. He's got another one there right and ready to go. So that's what's forcing the time pressure out at this point. They've chosen to push this B site. They literally can't do so at this point because there's so many smoke grenades going down. I don't even think there's enough time for the diffuser to go down at this point. And PENTA Divina, they're just not going to be able to find anything. So once again, North Sea Gaming right now, they're absolute executes towards the end, working out very well. And, well, it was a little bit messy towards the end, but all in all, they did manage to close things out. And I think that, just to reiterate on your point, what you were saying, why wouldn't they come in and give them hell in this? I think the idea is that what I would use this opportunity, if you've not played Coastline, if you've not played let's try that sentence again. If you've not played Coastline before at this level, and you want to try things out on a broadcast, this would be where I personally, as an IGL, would be coming in and going, okay, let's try these strats in this round. Let's try this composition. We'll test its effectiveness. It's nothing else, right? They know that their early round strats are working out well, and this potentially is an opportunity for them to try and just develop a bit more tactical depth on the offensive side of this map.
Yeah. Now, just a quick roundup here. If you're just joining us here for this match, this is the first match of the day. It's currently 4-0 for North Sea Gaming, still on the defensive side for North Sea Gaming. We do have 3 matches coming up after this one, as well, followed by our North American broadcast of CCSW this evening. So stick around for all of that. This is some, honestly, really good action from the CCSW that we've seen here. A lot of impressive gun work, a lot of impressive knowledge of the game, gameplay. Stick around if you're just joining us now. There's a lot to see.
Yeah, well, lots of impressive knowledge of the game coming from North Sea Gaming at this point in the defensive side of things. But, who knows? There's still time, as we were saying, as long as they've taken that time to try and mentally reset, have that team talk, and just approach it. This is what's so good about round by round esports, I find, is that if you're in a MOBA situation, for example, and it's like 30 minutes in, your opponents are built and fed, and it looks nigh on impossible at that point to come back, right? To mentally reset yourself is a lot more difficult. But in these round by round things, you have those built-in breaks. You have the opportunity to just go, right, we can just isolate from now on in the game. We're 4-0 down. I don't care. We're going to isolate every round, play each round as it comes, and fight them individually as a game almost. And then hopefully if they can gain the advantages in enough of those, then they'll have enough to close out the map. That's the way I'd be trying to mentally reset, at least.
And I mean, that's very well put. It's once a round is done, it's done. There's no point in revisiting it until after the game. You always want to go back and correct your mistakes, but just put it behind you at that point. There's no going back. The point has gone one way. As you said, it's not like you were saying a MOBA with this broad spectrum of an entire match. This is round by round action. And there's no reason to hold on to the 1 point that you just lost. Keep going. Try to get each point bit by bit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see with the way the veto worked out, whether PENTA Divina were slightly less prepared. If you were saying before that North Sea Gaming are, they're the higher seed in this match, certainly. They've played Coastline a couple of times recently and had success on it. So whether it's just that lack of preparation that's caused them to end up here, or whether some of the other maps are just even more in favor of North Sea Gaming, you really have no idea. But certainly this looks like where that side are at home at the moment, at least on the defensive side of things. And if they keep things up, this could be a very quick first map.
Yeah, and we've already got, first kill. We're already halfway into the round, and that's when the first kill happens. Oh, now it's tied at 4-4. Ashley just doing some damage, coming in with the 2K. Pushing hard here. Triple.
Big triple kill from her. All headshots as well, by the way. Very crisp aim, looking for her fourth. Oh my god, she's on for the ace right now. Another player peeking straight into her. Oh, unfortunately, ever so narrowly missed. Tyne is going to deny the ever so slight PM from Ashley, but a very impressive round performance from her. She single-handedly dominated that round for the defenders and should make it impossible here for Tyne to be able to do anything at this point. It is the Blackbeard, so perhaps some missed shots through that cardboard shield will keep the Blackbeard alive for slightly longer. But with 40 seconds left on the clock and the diffuser still to pick up and take to a site, surely hopes are not high.
Yeah, my guess is they've probably got a sight on that diffuser right now. Oh, maybe not. Maybe a bit of hope, but not much. That was some amazing work by Ashley there. I was really hoping for the ace. We've only had 2, maybe 3 aces in all of Women's League here, and they've all come by the same player, which I believe was I'm probably gonna get this wrong. I believe it was Maddox, or maybe it was Maddie. We've got a few different Maddox, Madeline, Maddie in the league, but only one player so far has achieved a few different aces, and there it is, round 5 win by NSG. PENTA Divina once again just running themselves out with the clock.
Yeah, a bit of a pointless situation towards the end of that last round there. Okay, Tyne's in the 1v3. She's probably not going to win that round, but still, it's, as you were saying, it's a round-by-round game. It's not like in CS where the money's going to be carried forward. She didn't need to save that weapon. There's absolutely no benefit to her not committing to that engagement towards the end of that round, even if it's just to pad her own statistics at the end of the day, right? And at least be able to say that her scoreline was better by trying to find some of those kills. So unfortunately, she's not able to do anything towards the end of that round. We're heading into now round number 6 of the opening start to things on this first half, and a 5-0 kickoff for the side of North Sea Gaming. If you're a North Sea Gaming fan in chat, you're going to be very happy with how this first map's going so far.
Mm-hmm. And I like what North Sea Gaming 2 here is doing. Round by round, they're changing up one operator at a time. They like what they're doing, they like their process, and they're sticking with it, making minor adjustments depending on the site. But they have a lot of confidence right now in how they're executing.
Yeah, absolutely. Their defensive setups are, nigh on perfect in this map at least, right? They're not losing out in the late round situations at all. They're holding their nerve. Ashley has been going absolutely huge. They're having some huge individual performances from North Sea Gaming as well. That's just what I think is what makes it so difficult to attack at this point. It's not even just like they're attacking PENTA Divina I'm talking about here. It's not even like they're attacking a well-drilled opponent, right, who have got just really good strategies and they're holding out. They're attacking an opponent who are very well-drilled. They know exactly what they're doing on the defense, and they have players on the roster that are able to just run out of the sites and get a quad kill, nigh on an ace nearly, and just shut down your whole attack out in the corridors. So it must be an absolute nightmare to try and counter. They've got one more attacking round left to try and do so before these sides are switched, and they've gone back to the sledge, and this time picking up the buck as well.
Mm-hmm. If you're PENTA Divina, this round here is a must-win. Coastline isn't. Out of all of the maps in the pool, it is one of the least defender favored maps, although it is still percentage wise in favor of the defense. This is one where I think you need to pick up this win for this round if you're PENTA Divina. Make it 5-1 going into defense yourself and say, look, hey, that happens. It's defense. What's to say that we can't turn around and get some defensive, rounds of our own?
Sure, absolutely. And if they do get this last round here as well, it could be a signal shift towards a change in momentum, right? At least for your mindset, you can say, okay, yeah, we did get slapped in the first half of this game, but we won the last round of the half. It's something to take through. You can show that we are capable of doing things. And Tyne taken down very low early on there by Miss Marie, playing on that Legion. Remember, the longer she stays up, the more goo mines she's got available. She's going to try and get aggressive, though, and follow up this peak. And she just sees the leg there from the movement. That's really unfortunate from Tyne getting caught off guard there.
If you're Tina there with such little HP left, wouldn't you just rotate somewhere else? You're kind of, it feels like you're fighting an uphill battle there. They know you're low. They know they've hit you. I don't know. It just, I would have thought they would have rotated at that point.
Yeah, Tina as well. Sorry, apologies for my pronunciation, but
fine.
it's actually going huge once again with 2 big kills of her own. Miss Marie wanting to pad her own scoreboard at this point, and that's just going to leave Tiffy alone in the 1vx situation. But nonetheless, Aya cleaning that up, and it's a clean sweep for North Sea Gaming on the defensive side of things here on Coastline. 6-0 in the opening start of things, and PENTA Divina under a lot of pressure now as we head into the next half.
Yeah, I think one thing to kind of look back on there is that they were on attack. They're going up against a very good team. They weren't able to take a round, and at the very least, they weren't even able to get a plant down at any point. I would have liked to have at least seen a plant so that they could turn around and tell themselves, "Hey, we came close." But they really don't even have that to tell themselves at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. They're certainly having somewhat of some trouble through things at the moment. And switching sides, you know, this is basically the last opportunity now to try and go for that mental reset. They have gone for a more unique defensive setup of things, bringing the mute to the occasion this time, and the frost traps going to be in play as well in forms of that defensive utility. But again, a very unique offensive setup, as you were saying, because you don't need those hard breaches. That's really given the attackers some more options here. And Naughty Gaming, they've gone for the Havana on that hard breach, but they've picked up the Ash and the Buck as well. So a lot of breaching potential in their initial picks.
Do you think this is signaling them coming in hard at them?
Well, maybe, who knows, you know. They do have the Dockerby available as well, and perhaps if they're thinking that their opponents aren't as well drilled and they're not going to have the defensive setups, then perhaps that, you know, Dockerby utility is exactly what they need to try and force their defenders out of the positioning, right? If you think about what I was talking about in terms of what PENTA needed to do to get Naughty Gaming out of their defenses, it was to find some operators that can force defenders out of positions. Dockerby is an absolutely great way to do that, and I think that's the kind of heads-up play that we're seeing from them at the moment.
Yeah, one thing I do like, I love, and I've stated this before, I love watching Pulse on defense. Hopefully the round takes enough time that we can see that Pulse in action.
Sure.
I'll be the first to say this. I'm terrible playing with Pulse, and Jaeger down again. Well, for the other side now.
Early. Yeah, the Jaeger being downed early, but Ashley this time getting a little bit too bloodthirsty, taking out her teammate as well. So does commit to the spray down and find the frag, but she's getting very aggressive early on once again on this Ash. She's very much seemingly not afraid. She has a teammate as well, just ahead of her on the drone, getting the info. And there we are. That's Pulse's position given away. And there is a Ashley, yeah, it was just good for the second kill there. Very explosive start to the round. Big double kill from her. And she's been a big player so far in this map. And right now, she's just allowed to run around, basically, and destroy this defense.
Looks like Tiffy knowing that they've got... Oh, yeah. She knew that she hit the Legion trap there. Just waiting for her to come up around those stairs.
Trying to find the engagement. It is going to be Eve for the side of PENTA Divina that evens things out to a 3-3 situation. But now we're seeing the first bit of Dockerby utility be deployed. So information being the key word at this point for the attackers, and they're going to have a lot more of it after that utility is implemented. Nonetheless, though, still a 3v3 situation. The defenders still able to anchor in these bomb sites, and if they can do anything to replicate North Sea Gaming's strategies, then they might have a chance in this round.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that communication with the use of the Legion on the stairs there, and then I believe was it the smoke there getting the kill to
the
mute. Sorry, my apologies. To get that combination going, get the teamwork going, get the double, or not double, I don't know what you call it, double play.
Yeah.
I like that. Showed some signs of life there for PENTA Divina.
Tina, they're stuck in that corner. She was looking for something but couldn't do anything, unfortunately. That is just in 3v2 now in favor of North Sea Gaming. 45 seconds left on the clock, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of pushing a little bit earlier, right? Like at this point in the round, PENTA Divina, they would have 10 seconds left on the clock before they were considering these kinds of plays, right? With 45 seconds left, North Sea Gaming know exactly what site they want to attack. They've already picked off a player who's defending deep in that area as well, and they just look set to try and find things now. 25 seconds left on the clock. Still a lot of work for these defenders to do. That's a very important go of things as well. On the upside down rappel too, the diffuser going to come through, and the Legion falling down, and these attackers just dominating the defenses at the moment. It's all on Eve in the 1v2 situation. Can't do so. Naughty Gaming take round 7. They win it 7-0. Very impressive play from them, and just a very convincing showing on Coastline.
Yeah, definitely. Flawless victory. You know, I knew it was going to be a bit of a blowout. I didn't expect it to be that much right there as it was. But I mean, everyone on North Sea Gaming really came together there. Put up the stats. Look at that. 10 kills by Ashley, 7 by Miss Marie. They put up one hell of a match. You know, they made it tough for PENTA Divina. I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, give PENTA Divina too hard of a time, because they were coming up against a pretty formidable opponent there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of MVP potential as well, and just discussing some of the performances in that last map, obviously Miss Ashley going to be the player to note for Naughty Gaming. Just absolutely huge individual rounds, pulling off multi-kill after multi-kill by the looks of things. Looked to be very aggressive on the attacking side of things as well. We only got to see her in one round, but she tore some heads off as well in that one. So potentially very diverse, very good play from her. I would like to give an honourable mention to Connie from PENTA Divina as well. In those opening rounds, when they were finding the double kills early on and getting the opening picks when they were on the attacking side, it was Connie who was putting up the work at that point, and you know, trying to find those frags in the opening situations. And, you know, honorable mention to her. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for an MVP candidate, from me, it's Miss Ashley from Naughty Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, that 4K was almost, you know, a metaphor for the rest of her game there. Quick, decisive, just the leader of the pack in that game for sure. Coming out, getting those quick 4 kills. She showed what her team was all about in that match. Now, coming up, we just finished North Sea Gaming versus PENTA Divina. We're going to go to a quick 5-minute break, head to the washroom, grab some snacks, grab some water, whatever you need to do. Come right back. We'll have a great matchup between Hellside and B Titans, two of those teams in that tight middle pack race. We'll see you in just a moment for that.